to Native Wellness Institute's Wellness Wednesday. Woohoo! How many of you feel the springtime? How many of you are planting your flowers and hanging your flowers? Oki, Nistu Nidaniko, Makoyo Sakoyi. I'm coming to you from, let's see, Blackfeets have 1.5 million acres here, and we got 3 reserves north, Sixikai, Kainai, and Batsapikani. Welcome! Welcome to Native Wellness Institute. Our whole mission since 1988 and officially since 2000 has been to keep the teachings of our ancestors alive. Woohoo! Oh my God, I could just, I guess I'll just get a suntan for an hour. Yes. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. You know, there's so much exciting stuff happening. There's graduations everywhere. You know, you don't realize how beautiful this is. If we went back 50 years, hardly anyone got to even graduate from high school, and now, sheesh, we're growing PhDs and we're growing master's degrees, and we all have these colonizations, neo this and epigenetic flurries of synapses firing and calming us down and healing us. And I swear, people are so educated. Jeez, they got an edumacation, they used to say. But I love it, you know, because it's not only, you know, educated in white man's terms, it's educated in culture. You know, there's something just happening that is just so, it's just like, I just went to our high school graduation, and then we was looking at our tribal graduation and our universities in Montana, and everybody had beaded braids, beaded lips, even their eyelashes were beaded. Eh? And then they had ribbons on everything, ribbons on their underwear, they had ribbons on their dresses, ribbons on their cap, and then they took cowboy hats and put the cap on top and beaded that, and then they had like ermine hanging down, and then they got transferred a whole bunch of feathers, and they were everywhere. I mean, I was just like, you knew they were Indians graduating with their high school diploma, their master's degree, getting their PhD, getting their lawyer degree, and not drinking whiskey and getting your law degree. Before that, that's how they used to do it. Now they're sober. Sober, educated Indians. Woohoo! Okay, so welcome to Wellness Wednesday. As you can tell, I don't know, springtime, you know, I've been staying in the deck. You know, when you live on a reservation, we always have at the same time several funerals, several weddings, several graduations, we have all these babies being born. It's a long winter, hey? But we got all these brand new babies with black hair that look like dancing roaches. You know, not bald-headed babies. They got black hair. We just have so much going on, and I guess I'm just choosing today to come to you, Native Wellness Institute. We just got so much Healing Together conferences happening in Colorado. We have Native Dads Network, White Bison, NAFA, the American Indian Cancer Foundation, and Native Wellness Institute. We're all coming together, and we're meeting in Colorado, June 18th, 19th, and 20th. So you're all invited. White Bison is the host. So come heal with us. But even before that, we just have, I think, me and Casey Nicholson are scheduled to go to Lac de Framboy pretty soon here. And right now, you know, and it's a secret, eh? I can only talk about it in little bits and pieces. There is some of our NWI team is over west, and they're working on a new comedy. And all I'll say is it's one of those greats that Tazba is involved in, and others. But I guess we got anyway. They're over there making this comedy, and so it's just really good to. I got a message from John Spence because I guess he's one of the extras walking by, or just looking. Now they're using real Indians everywhere. Just walking by, looking Indian. Not looking, somehow, but looking Indian. Like they'll say they didn't look Indian, eh? Or dang, they was Indian, like big Indian. I know. We put on some braids. I was thinking in the olden days when they'd be at the powwow, and they all shaved their head and they got crew cuts and do that. But when they would put on their Indian clothes, they would have these wigs with three braids or two braids, at least in black country. So I used to see some of my relatives put on their wig. They'd have some braids, and they'd be out there, really dancing. And then afterwards they would take off their braids. So you do have those kind of Indians who put on stuff. Hey. And when they take it off, they ain't Indian no more. Hey. I just teasing you. Don't be getting upset. But what I think today's topic is around cultural identity. Because I was just thinking, my heart is with one of our big families here, several big families, including, my blood family. We just had some beautiful, beautiful good news in our Tatsy family and our Bullshoe family. One of our older cousins, when they're older than me, and I'm 69, when they're like 70, 74, 72, we say older cousins, eh? We just had, they were doing the funeral, and one of our cousins had a heart attack and had to have 4-way quadruple bypass, and it was successful. So I think that in some ways, when it's successful, and all we knew was he described the pain as, when you have a bad toothache, sometimes when you're having a real bad heart attack, it feels like a toothache, but it feels like the whole toothache is right here. And that's how he described it. And now he's pain-free. And now he's just healing. And now he's just, and so that is good news. But I want to talk about the cultural identity, when someone, is getting ready to pass. I just heard some really good news from several families that when someone is getting ready to go, it made me think, because, I feel healthy. I'm healthy. Doctor says I'm healthy. But if you have if you're Blackfoot and you have sacred things, and like a bundle, like you have pipes, like you have other things that were transferred to you, or transferred to you, you should think about transferring them. And so one of the pieces of really, really good news is yesterday I was with our bark, our Ganaxtimida, we had one of our members who's 77 pass away in a good way, because all his family was there. And I was sitting with his daughters yesterday and just listening to how tender, loving care they took care of their dad. Tender, loving care. They said, we tried to just make him comfortable. She's just saying, how when you're getting a pedicure and they put the hot towels around your feet and warm. She says, and put lotion on you and lotion you up. Well, we did that. She said we did that, and it comforted him. and he passed over, but you know, he's not gone. I kind of feel like he's wandering around pulling her hair. Or you might just get, you know, like sometimes they'll come around and pull your hair, be in the ceremony, or just, you know, the ceremony. Or have you ever walked through like the airport, or you're somewhere, and then you just get this big old sweet pine smell, or sweet grass, or it could be sage, or you know, it could be any of those aromas, or you smell them. You all of a sudden get, you know, it just comes by, you know, they're with you. So I kind of feel like that's they say, you know, they say in the olden days, you gotta, I heard my ancestors say that you gotta do special things and but special protocol for 4 days from the time, you know, they take their last breath. You do all of these special songs and journey songs, and then but I want to, before I get to that serious point, I heard good news that this cousin transferred everything before he left and had witnesses. Transferred the holy things, and you know, and let's see, I'm trying to think, you know, those of you that think white, it's okay to think white. That's, you know, a choice. And when something flies over, I have to take a quick look. It looks like it's a raven or a crow. Raven, they're bigger. Crow, they're kind of smaller. But we have a lot of eagles around here, and so when I always, they catch, I can feel them flying by. So I just heard good news that while he was still conscious, and with a lot of witnesses, with the children and the siblings and others, they took all his stuff and they transferred it to so and so, and they transferred it to so and so, and they transferred it to so and so. So there was witnesses. So what that does is it alleviates. It's called violence prevention. Because then you don't have to argue about who gets what. And then I was thinking, you know, is that why some people make wills? Yeah, we have some people who make wills, cultural wills. You know, they make wills, but you know, if you own, like, you know, like this house. Okay, so like this house that I own right here, I've owned this house, God, about 28 years, all paid off. I own this house, and I was thinking, and I have a will, but I wanted to gift it to someone who's going to live here in the winter. Who knows how to live here in the winter? So I should make sure. And then I was thinking of things like, you know, I have a lodge. I have a really nice 18-footer, and I just got brand new poles. Walter Running Crane Jr. got me brand new poles, and so I'm just gifting it. I'm gifting it, and I guess that's an act when you get older. You should, because you can't take that stuff with you when you go. You should give it away, gift it, and I guess like transfer. And so that brings us back to, you know, cultural identity and cultural things, because I now see, as someone, you know, and you know, I just portrayed an elder in a movie that's being edited now and premiere sometime in the fall, about the 60s scoop. And even in that, it's about based on a true story in Canada of 5 siblings, and one is not doing it in real life, but 4 come together in their 50s because they were taken as babies. They were taken as babies, and they were raised in non-Blackfoot homes, or non-Cree homes, or all across Canada. They were, and so I was just thinking about that story, because I play a 70-year-old Blackfoot grandma, and I have an 80-year-old Cree husband. Now don't laugh, because we have some humor between, Blackfoot and Crees kind of bumping, not getting along. But so everyone says, what? Anyway, but in the movie, I was just thinking about that, because most of the time I'm crying, and I'm not. I want to say I'm not acting. I'm just crying because I imagined what it would be like if you were taken as a baby. And I imagined what if you didn't know your mother and your father are your relatives, and you were raised by someone else. And it might be good, but the thing is, you don't know who they are. You don't know what it is to wear all that beadwork, or to have all those feathers, or to sing those songs. And I just, so in that, we just finished filming that up by Banff, near Lake Louise, and I'm gonna head back up there. I think September I'm gonna go up and stay. But I wasn't acting in that parts. I was literally crying, So later on, I told Mom, I said, Mom, it's not like when you watch this. I think in almost every scene, I'm crying, because that is how I felt. But that was also the character that I play, Alma. And so I was just sharing, so I can talk about it, but we can't say anything until there's the premiere. Well, it's really cool, because everyone was Canadian except me. I was the only one from the lower 48, or from America. And I like, Michael Gray Eyes is in it. He's one of the children. And then the other are famous people. And in a way, sometimes people say, are you in act? Is that your goal? And I was just telling John Spence, like I was mentioning to you, I said, no, John, that's not my goal. I think it's my hobby. Being in Rest Dogs was my hobby. Finishing these 3 other films, because I finished 3 films, I learned a lot. But that's why did I do them? The second film, I did it because it was in Blackfoot with English subtitles, and I thought that's a good way to learn relearn our language. The third film, they just finished editing that, and it's Ivan. It's 2 Blackfoot, Ivan and Ivy. It's about, I play this badass auntie with 62 buffalo, and I have 2 nieces. And their mother's alcoholic, and so one niece they sent to Seattle, and then one niece they sent to me on the Blackfoot Reservation. A lot of it was filmed at Terry Tatsy, who is a bull shoe, so we were with all of our buffalo. But I just finished, that was just edited. And in that film too, I swear, all I am is I have 62 buffalo, and I get this niece. I get this niece that is hurting because her mother's active alcoholic, and she loves, because kids, they still love their parent. They just don't on hook. They still love their parent, and they can't understand their parent's behavior when they're in addiction. So remember that. And then remember too, when parents have kids in addiction, they can't understand when the kid is in addiction. That's why they have Al-Anon, and they have, codependency and ACOA healing. So remember, there is healing for every aspect of that. But the part of all those films, I did it because of the culture. I did it because, there's teachings of the buffalo in it. There's teachings of the language in it. And then this last film, my prayer is that the 60 Scoop descendants, their children and their children's children and their children's children, could understand that history of when you don't know nothing about your culture, and you want to know so bad about your culture that you'll do anything. You'll even, buy stuff on Instagram. You'll even, go and sign up to do all these Indian things, and I never want to make fun of that, I never want to, because now everybody's making moccasins. We just had a moccasin class down here. There's one going up at Red Crow. And every community I'm going to, I was out in California at Bishop, and they had just finished, everyone made a ribbon skirt or made a ribbon shirt. And, it was just like just like I said, everybody was, the first step is to dress like your ancestors and not your oppressors. And see, that is just amazing. So then, dressing like your ancestors, then you have to say, well, how did my ancestors dress? And I got my one nephew here. They went, they got a wolf, and they're gonna make some clothes out of it, and then they want to tan some hides, and then wear the tan hides for clothing. And I just said, you are such a badass. I mean, like, what if we all don't have that opportunity to wear to wear all that? But what if you did? And so how do we embrace the culture without shame? And I guess, some of I wanted to just visit a little bit. How do you be Indian without shame? Because that shame, shame when someone tells you, you're not saying that right, or you're not talking it right, Don't shame people. Flip it and encourage them for the culture. Help them. Because like myself, I always, they say, this is your little relative, and I'll go, what's their Indian name? And then we start the dialogue, because if they don't have an Indian name, how they're planning on getting their Indian name. Because in again in Blackfoot, that those 100 years that we get to live, there's all rites of passage. But that first rite of passage in that circle, like if this was to 25 years old, top of your fingers, to 50 years old, 75 years old, to 100. If you look at cultural frameworks, you have to go through all these rites of passage in that 100 years to be a good person. And sometimes, but the first transfer is to get your Indian name. So like, welcome to Native Wellness Wednesday. We could just say our goal is to get all of our indigenous and all of our native their Indian name. Woo-hoo! What a goal! Because once you get your Indian name, all kinds of helpers come with that, all kinds of goodness. Nistu Nidaniko Makoyo Sequoia, my second Blackfoot name. And I swear, since 2017, and just getting Makoyo means Milky Way, Wolf Trail, or Medicine Trail. I feel like I'm shifting almost into that Makoyi, that just even, I swear I can smell better, hear better, and my intuition is so acute. I can feel people's energy, and I know a wolf, I know animals, I know wild, they're like that. And even if you can't see it, you can sense when there's danger. Even when you can't see it, you can sense it. And so we grow into our name, these rites of passage. So in culture, becoming cultural, it's not, we could put a ribbon skirt on all the Republicans. I wouldn't want to, but they're smelly. We could put a ribbon skirt on all of them. We could put some beaded moccasins on all of them. We could teach them all to say, Shoraje, or Oki, or Piva. We could just get out there. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Whatever. Does that make their heart? Does that make their insides culture? Or do you just have a fake ass Indian? And I'm sorry for laughing, because I was being patient yesterday, and all I did was listen, because I knew everyone there, they just put up a triple teepee. That's 3 times a triple teepee. Sometimes that takes a day, but they did it in 4 hours. They just put up a cook tent, and they had a lot. They have everything is planned because they had done this Ganaxtimada, that we're having this funeral, this celebration of his life, and you could just as I was listening, sometimes when you're older, even though you know the answer, you don't say it. You just help and you listen, because even as they're talking, they come up with the answer themselves, or they come up with a couple of ways that you do it. Because even in one of the I don't want to disclose anything specifics, they wanted to gift some people who had helped a lot, who had contributed a lot, and the family, because that's cultural. That is cultural, is the gifting. That's why you should always, I was just praying what's in this freezer. I got some alchemy. I got some choke cherries, some buffalo meat, but I also have a buffalo tongue. And I was thinking pretty soon I'm going up to a couple ceremonies. So Pikani, Dev Eli said there's a ceremony the 23rd and the 24th. So tomorrow I was going to just saddle up a war pony and head that way, because I need to be in a ceremony. I need cleansing. I need renewal. So I'm going to head up. So Pikani, if any of you are on here, I'm just going to head that way tomorrow, I think about midday. First stop, get some Chinese food. That's what all Blackfoots do. Before we do anything, we stop and get some Chinese food. We'll probably stop at Carson, get some Chinese food, and then head. And it's kind of, I guess it's spontaneously just saying that because I'm going to journey, because I want to go to a couple ceremonies. And I just let Mom and the rest of the family, Lori, I let them know, because I said we have a baby shower, we have some more graduation parties, we have decorating the graves, and so I'm gonna put that kind of on pause and just go up to the ceremonies. And I was asking my mom if that would be okay, because we're at the stage where my mom is 86 years old, and she's healthy, and she has goals, and so we like right now she's down at Little Shell. My mom and my sister, they filled out the 15-page application, because somehow you can get my mom wants to check her if she has glaucoma, and get that surgery. So the fastest way is to go through there. It's a complicated system. You can't just go to IHS, or you could. They actually recommend. So with whatever my mom says she wants, we do it. And so we already went out, and she didn't want me to put all the decorations. I'm decorating my Aunt Melinda, who was my other mother. I was raised by her and my dad, so I got some beautiful decorations. But I also decided I want to just paint some rocks. So all this week I've got certain rocks, and I'm gonna paint their name on it, and I'm gonna put those on their grave, like a decoration, a homemade decoration. When I first moved home, I had this dream. I've been here 30 years, and this is my house, and it's a little bit chilly out here, but the Wi-Fi is holding better than in the house. But when I first moved home, I had this dream, and it was to take two willows, and they were symmetric, two willows like this, and then at the end of the willow, in the dream, I had sage. So sage. And was supposed to put these on the people who had left that I loved. And anyway, so that was the dream. So unknowingly, I made these offerings, and at that time my daughter was living with me, and we went out because she had been learning to play double ball and made double ball sticks. That's another indigenous game. But we went and cut all these willows like this, and then we went and got because the sage was bountiful for anyway. We put sage on the floor, but they were like an offering. And then we went to Mission Graveyard, and we put some, and then put some all around Heart Butte, and anyway, it was just beautiful, and they stayed on those graves a long time. And then later on, I was just thinking that the Okan, that's kind of how those offerings are. So one of the things about relearning your culture and being with your culture is put your tobacco out and ask Istapatapi. Nogakimokit, Nagaspumokit, pity me, help me. Help me to have better understanding. And to remember your dreams, because your culture will come back in your dreams. Your ancestors, that's when you open the doorway. They can come when you sleep, when you're calm, when you're peaceful, when you're content. They'll come to you, and you can ask for greater understanding of, the I've been, just saying, I talked to my dad, dad, and the Tokan, beaver iron pipe, white quiver, Atstanikiwa, Awatski. I call all my grandparents and my uncles and aunts by their English name too, and I just ask them for greater understanding of not only the language, but greater understanding, so that I can just live bright and thrive and live this 24 hours in a good way, and to have that that forgiveness and that kindness. And it happens. It happens. So this getting your culture back, and I I'm glad everyone's wearing the ribbon skirt. I'm glad everyone's doing that, and I'm glad everyone. And I really did see a pair of eyelashes where there was beadwork right here, and then there was the then now even at the rodeo, everybody's got ribbons on their chaps and ribbons on their every on their shorts. They got ribbons with shorts. They got bras, ribbons that have ribbons. We got ribbons everywhere. But ribbons are prayer colors. That the colors, the ribbons. I used to, when I first came home, I remember Gary Racine, they used to say, bring offering of orange. They had orange was real significant. So would get all the ribbons and would bring them, and they'd hang them in the sweat, and then they'd take care of it that way. They sometimes, that's why when you're with Blackfoot, so they'll have two yards of certain prints. The prayers, Buster Yellow Kidney would get our prints and would pray with them every morning and every night for the whole year. You'd fast with them, and then you'd Sundance with them. So the ribbons are very significant. One of my Ganaxtimid brothers had an old wool Cree ribbon at the bottom, and it's beaded. So I just acquired that, and I haven't worn it anywhere. I've been just kind of smudging it because I don't know all of the history of where it came from. Because sometimes he was like a collector of things, but I want to. I think so. I guess I have some good news just to share with you. I've been part of I was nominated and selected to be advisory to a global effort. And this global effort is to help with indigenous and with tribes and First Nations and Métis from the time you're born till 3 years old, and from 3 years old to 5 years old. So I was just selected to this spirit, this initiative, and it's not a lot of obligations because it's Zoom meetings, and then we get together once a year. Last year they went to Australia, and this year, since I'm a new person that just got seated in December, yeah, I think it was December. All the Australians are coming, all the Maori are coming, all the Canadians are coming, and then all the tribal people are coming, and we're gonna go. I'll fly from because I'm closer to Calgary or Calgary, depending on the dialect, airport. So I get to fly to Victoria, BC, on the 11th of July, and then I'll be over there till the 19th or 20th, and then we're gonna go. We'll start in Victoria, and we're gonna go up to a longhouse. We're gonna go where the salmon are running. We're just and we're gonna be together on indigenous land, and we'll be having meetings of what will thrive and have our babies be in a more healthier way, a cultural way. So anyway, that's my good news. I guess I'm just feeling really happy because I'm into that space of people. People ask me a lot of things, and I can't do them all because I have to take the energy that I have, and that's why we come Native Wellness Institute. That's where we just keep Wellness Wednesday up. That's why Native Dads does, Mike Duncan does it every Tuesday, is we just come to you. This is our give back. This is our give back. And I think, it's I'm not getting paid. So then, I thought, Native Wellness Institute, we're doing okay, but if you want to donate, and it will go to, for support of our staff, support of things that we're doing. If you want to donate $5, donate some money. You're watching this, push the donate button and donate to Native Wellness Institute, because you know what we're about. I'm one team member, but we're all the same. We're all Native. We're all clean and sober. We all practice our culture best we can. And we have no non-natives bossing us around, eh? Because once you get that federal funding, there's always, they're going to do something cultural, but then you get this person that don't know jack, and they're just bossing you around, making you do surveys and making you do all this curriculum, and then next thing you might as well be white, eh? So Native Wellness Institute, push that donate button. And I thought I would say that because, our team, Wade, our team member that is really healing, and that kind of gave us all a wake-up call about our schedule and how we do self-care. And that's why I'm heading to that ceremony, because I've been asking myself, what does Theta need? I need to go sit in ceremony. I need to get my face painted, and I need to just be around Blackfoots that I'm not explaining, that I'm just listening. I'm just listening. 2 ears, 1 mouth. So Native Wellness Institute, so that's happening. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that, culturally, there were cultural protocols with things, houses, lodges. And I'm saying that because in my gifting my 18-footer, and I had the most happiness because I just got those new teepee poles. And it's not, I had a lot of history, that lodge was put up, pitched at a lot of good things over the years. And we slept in it. we slept in it. And even, my daughter and the partner that she was with, she's Two-Spirit. They lived in it all summer, I think, in 2010, 2011. And that was and with their dog, you know, and they had Wi-Fi. They lived over here on the lake in the teepee with Wi-Fi and would still do their work. And you know that the last time we put it up at Heart Butte Indian Days, we were having an iron pipe, and that's, you know, I'm excited because I'm starting to focus on helping with genealogy and helping gearing people, encouraging them to come to BCC archives. I'm going to meet with some Heelys, and they're related to spotted eagles. They're related to iron pipes. And I'm going to meet with them on the 31st in Cardston and bring my charts. And my charts aren't just mine. They're all of our interviewed our elders, and we charted it out. And so we're going to contribute to each other. And it's just to contribute because when you know who you are, you know, when you know your 4 grandparents, your 8 grandparents, your 16 great grandparents, that's when your next 10 generations can thrive. Let them know it. They don't have to rediscover it. They are born knowing that cultural genealogy, you know, and so I don't know, that's why I'm excited. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Welcome to Native Wellness Institute. As I said, and I just thought, you know, since we're out here often, you know, I was walking around seeing where the Wi-Fi could go well, because sometimes inside of my house it wasn't going so well. And then, as you can see, I'm staining the deck, and I was just thinking, you know, even though I was raised at Big Badger with owls, and this owl right here, and then this owl right here, you know, out in Big Badger on the iron pipe allotment, Agnes iron pipe, Joe Boss iron pipe, that allotment where the old house is, we had all these trees, and there was owls in there. So as a child, I grew up just hearing owls all the time, and they were just always a messenger, but they were always like a blessing. So I have some owls out here. I have a lot of bald eagles that come and hunt and fly down and fish in there. I have a lot of osprey. There's some golden eagles, some red-tailed hawks. But I decided to symbolically put this here. And I don't know why, you know, maybe in another lifetime, I just love Buddha. I love Buddhism. And I'm Blackfoot, but I love to put Buddha here. I love Oma Kotoyo. There's a lot of mountain lions here. There's a lot of Ponakamata horses. There's Ponakas. But I just wanted to just take you out a little bit. I was one of the things, we can't mow the lawn, so you can see it looks almost like a carpet. It's just getting really green here. And so when we're done here, I'm going to attempt, this is my funny, I'm going to attempt to see if the lawnmower will start, because I have all these LED lights, see here, and then I got, this one right here is just blown glass. I've got some hummingbirds. And that's all of the hummingbirds are coming back right now. This morning I was just so happy because I got the hummingbirds feeders full and the hummingbirds are around. There's an old squirrel over there trying to steal the bird food. Like look at him. He's just up there stealing some, but I keep enough bird food. He's just in there just eating it. Because there's food for everybody. I'm not gonna anyway. I was just looking at. You know, I wanted to take you over here. You know, as we go down, because one of a lot of, you know, we learned a lot from, you know, Wilbur Fish And I was just thinking, I have cottonwood. Can you see the bear paws, the bear that scratched up that, you can see. I remember when there was a couple cubs that were stranded up there, and when I had all my Karelian bear dogs, they wouldn't let them down. They're not, that was, some of the chapters here. But Wilburfish used to always, I wanted to take you down to, because this time of the year, they call it, the buffalo flowers, May. And for some reason, with the way that the rain has been, I wanted to just take you down for a moment and show you the glacier lilies. Look at all these glacier lilies. And you can put out spit, if you don't have your tobacco. And Wilburfish used to say that, like, these glacier lilies, he said, eat them for breakfast. They're very sweet. It's almost like a salad. So I've been just sitting here on the lawn right now. And say, eat a couple handfuls. And so go out. I mean, even there's some dandelions over there. He said, eat the dandelions. He dried the dandelions. He said, we used to make dandelion tea, and you'd drink a whole bunch of it twice a year. It cleansed you. It cleansed your liver, your pancreas, your kidneys, and the stuff in here. It cleanses. But this tastes so good. I'm gonna. Thank you. Welcome to Wilderness Wednesday. We're having glacier lily salad. But as I'm sitting here, one of the things, I guess, in our last few minutes together is culture is knowing your land. Culture is, because right now, they're the Sabbath berries. I'm surrounded by Sabbath berries here. And there's just a couple of blossoms that just sprung up. And I was going to just walk back here and see if, hopefully, the blossoms were all of the, you call it Saskatoon in Canada. Lakota, Dakota over that way call it June berries. And let me see if because right here, this is usually where I'll just have a lot of, it'll just be lousy with Sabbath berries. There'll be a lot of berries. And I'm just looking for a blossom. Not too many this way. Maybe I think right behind the front part of my house, because I got excited this morning. I was out. I always get up. The first thing I do is smudge, and I go out walking, because culture is being on the land. Culture is digital, detox. Part of I don't turn on my phone till 9 a.m. and then I started to turn it off like 7 or 8 in the evening. Oh my God. I guess I'm just taking you out for a walk. This is wild rhubarb. Wild rhubarb. And you can see it's just coming up. It's just right here. This is wild rhubarb. And this is always since I bought this house. And we always ate it, but it's a very important part of our Okan, because it's a medicine that was gifted to us, a wild rhubarb. So that's here. See, I'm just now getting excited. And that's what culture is. Get out on the land. Get excited. I was thinking, man, where does culture start? It starts out on the land. So right here is what you have. This just blossomed right here. That is where there's going to be Savis berries, our service berries, our Saskatoons. Right there. Just look at that. I'm not going to... Oh, give them a kiss. Thank them. You know, and and this just happened. This just sprung up because we just had a really big rain. And so a lot of, you know, sometimes it's not about wearing a ribbon skirt, but wear the ribbon skirt. It's about knowing and reading the land. Look at, see, there's just more blossoms. These just popped up. They just popped up. And all along the walk here. Yeah, look. Look. See, that's the exciting part of our culture. So like 2 days ago, these blossoms weren't here. You know, 2 days ago, these, you know, I'm just gonna kind of walk along because this is exciting. It's an exciting time. You know, I was looking at our sister from Brockett. She was listing all the ceremonies, all the thunderpipe ceremonies, all the beaver bundle ceremonies. And you know, and where you live, find out, you know, don't have no shame, you know, say I want to go to the next ceremony, or it might be the next sweat if you're from a different place, you know. I want to go to the next learning. Ask, because I want to learn more. You know, be vulnerable. Say, I want to learn more. Be vulnerable. Ask. Say, I don't know, but I want to learn more. I want to have greater understanding. You know, as I'm walking here, I feel like some of the stuff I share with you, I hope it penetrates, and I hope you hear me. That you just got to go out on the land looking for some more blossoms here. But in the meantime, you know, there's a lot of sweet pine. See this sweet pine? Around this row, I got a lot of sweet pine around here. And one of the things that, in order to understand sweet pine more, when you pick it and dry it, you put it in a little cloth. So I've been sleeping with it at my bedboard. When you want to learn about medicines, put it around where you sleep. You know, hang your sage around where you sleep. Hang your Minigupi. Hang your peppermint. So I've had this. So when I'm going to sleep and it's dark, all I can smell is sweet pine. And it's interesting, like even if I wake up in the middle of the night and I need to go and use the restroom one time and then go back to bed, all I smell is sweet pine. Surround yourself. Put all that medicine around where you sleep. I'm just I want to just show you one thing that just excited me. You know, and this is what I want to learn more about. Look at these. Like blue bells. But look at that. And so that's one medicine, you know, I'm going to just start talking to. I think I know a little bit, but I'm not good. And that's not, you know, I'm not just like Indian 101, you know. But to be an Indian, go out in the land. I was looking at those purple flowers this morning when I was walking, and so I'm going to start, what I always do is I start to put tobacco, and I ask that plant if we could have a relationship. I ask that plant for greater understanding, for healing. And I always say, if you can help with healing, please help me to learn more so that I can encourage people, that I can share so they can learn this. It's just like, you know, eating those glacier lilies, and eating, like when the berries are ripe here, I'll come out here and have berries for breakfast. Yes, you pick some for ceremony, but I'll just eat them for breakfast. And now that, there's just so many, you know, things to eat right now. I mean, even these, We all know these, even just to eat these. It's like, just fresh like a salad. Make a pledge to yourself. Make a vow to yourself to learn more about your culture. This morning, one of my, I have all these nephews and all these nieces, and I was looking for a picture of his great grandfather, Yellow Owl, and I was just waking up, and I had turned on the phone, and I go, hey, we have those photos we got from Cambridge. There's Yellow Owl that was married to Makanita, and I have those pictures, so I just sent them to him, and I could. That's the encouragement now to do the genealogy. All of you, find out, what your parents' story or what your grandparents' story are, and I encourage you to look at, because they all lived, they all sacrificed, they all took time so that you could be. They prayed you into existence, as Jean Tagabon. You got prayed into existence. And that's where we are in 2025. We've been prayed into existence. So with this prayer that they prayed, and they prayed you into existence, do something about it. Get up, be an Indian, get up. Go and celebrate. Go and, yesterday we were all crying when they sang the Grounds, Johnny Grounds, in all the Ganaxtamadas, and all his relatives, all his children were crying. But it was that song brought out the emotion. That song, that great love for each other. And we were all crying, and I can never start the songs, but I sang, and it just felt good to have Crazy Dog Rattles, and just to hear the songs, and we sang him into that triple teepee. And then now the ceremony of celebration of life begins. It's an opportunity, all the old ladies get to, I just love visiting with them, because they all know who was with who and what babies they had. And how that we all came to be. And know that story. And I there's like a softness, and there's a gentleness as you get to know your story. Whoa, almost went away. Accidentally pushed one of the buttons, and whoa, it is 2:00. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. We are here every week, and we get to visit with you, positive, productive, and proactive. And today it's just about how do we invest in our cultural identity? How do we learn more about our culture, I guess was the topic. And I'm just sitting here, I got the, sometimes the Natusi, they say the sun, when you have the sun on your face and the wind, and it smells, I can smell some of that sweet pine, but I can also smell, like the cottonwood. I can smell, because now there's a lot of rain, it's drying up. Go out, read the land. I'm also out here with no dog and no protection. There's been a little boxikoi, a little chunky little, not a cub anymore, more like a teenager into adulthood, grizzly bear. So, but I don't feel alarmed. And that's when you get to read the land. You could, when it's safe, and you can just continue on, when you can just go about. So this is my my driveway. That's a winter count sign. That's a sign that it's a Ntsitipi woman. And so I come to you today. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Our time is just about up. I'm gonna get off and try to start my old lawnmower, because it might be dry enough, and it's just at that point, But I wanted to say, today I was sporting some of my wampum that I got at Kyo. These are earrings. Check out these earrings. This is wampum, which was the first money. Mashantucket Pequot. They have wampum. And then when my work first began in New Zealand, this is shark's teeth that Sid Jackson and Deidre Nahula gifted me. And see, when was that? 2004 in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So I decided to wear some of the cultural stuff today. And so we'll see you next Wednesday. I'm just feeling the goodness out here. So I encourage you to go out and you go barefoot if you can. I wear my Tevas, wear my old lady socks. Eh? But old ladies always wear good socks. And anyway, I'm gonna let you go, but I just feel like there's a good connection here, so I just wanted to take some time. So we'll see you next Wednesday.